Well, hello and welcome back to the weekly podcast, Monday Motivations. No more excuses. This is your host, as always, Sandi, Ballard, and I am a business coach in Indiana, but I travel across the United States speaking at conferences, facilitating team building workshops, and coaching a lot of people individually in group settings. And recently, I was talking with someone, she's like, "Oh, you help people realize their badassness." And I'm like, I like that. So yeah, that's what I do. I help people realize their badassness. I help them realize how badass they are and how they can be and not be a dick about it, all right? So, have you connected with me on the Instagram, Taskmaster Sandi, and Sandi with an I, because I'm cool like that. And my mom changed it when I was a kid, so I ain't got no choice. So, LinkedIn, always there. Growing Forward Success Coaching on the Facebook and Twitter, SL Ballard 13. And, it's almost the tax deadline. It is April 16th, which truly means the first quarter is over. In case you've just been ignoring me, or you're just not willing to let that shit sink in, or just been so focused on getting your taxes done, you haven't been paying attention. So it's over. It's done. Let it freaking go. I've asked you for a couple weeks to think about what went well, what didn't, and think about something new, what you're going to do. And, it's all about getting you thinking, challenging you, pushing you a bit. And most of you are probably lucky that this is a podcast and I can't put my pointy shoe in your ass and get you going. So it's officially time to move on. Like I said, done reflecting, or you need to be, on the last 90 days, the first quarter of the year, 2018. So you've decided on what you're going to do that's new. Remember, it has to align with your bigger vision of you. It shouldn't change that. But doing something new, bringing an old goal, unachieved goal to life, but you obviously have to do something in a new way, right? Because Einstein, insanity. You can't get new results with the same old shit. I'm sure he said it just like that. And I actually received an email from a new listener. And, so he's not in a good place. He's focusing all his energy on what was, what could have been, should have done, said, all that stuff. And sometimes you need to think through those things and face the decisions and whatever crap it is that you didn't face then, what decisions you didn't make. But that's it. And that's one of the things I told him, and as we communicated via email and Instagram, it's what's done is done, and it's time to move on. You can't live in the past. If you're listening, you know who you are, and it might sound like some of you others out there. It can be hard to move on, to let go of. I talked briefly in one of my previous podcasts about being kind of stuck. We hold on to a time when life was good, but what about, like him, what about when life wasn't? Or when you think or identify as a shitstorm, when your world just turned upside down. I have a date in mind for me. I actually kind of have two, but what about you? What did you do? How'd you react? And more importantly, how did you let go and move on? I think sometimes the issue with letting go is that there's no resolution. You have this need for resolution. And, I have that. It's like, okay, I need to just somehow have some closure on something. But sometimes, again, what's done is done, and the closure is there. It's just you're not comfortable with it. But, what if? What if I would have done this or said this? Or perhaps this would or could have happened if I'd have just done something a little bit different. Then things would be a lot different today. Well, again, it's done. And I personally spent much of 2013 thinking way too much about this, about what ifs, what I hadn't done, what I should have done, didn't do, blah, blah, blah. And where the fuck did it get me? Nothing but a bunch of lost time. I spent months moping, bitching, blaming, wondering. I was sad, depressed, becoming unbearable. So unbearable I couldn't freaking stand myself. Many of us go through this shit at some point. I'm actually listening to the audiobook Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. No, he calls himself Gary V for a reason. If you haven't heard it, his first book is Crush It, and this is the second book, Crushing It. I'm going to go back and listen to the first one. But anyway, it has many people reading their stories. And many people in his book have gone through the same or similar stuff in their life. Same as others. Same as I did, way back. And the same as this person who recently emailed me is now. The point is you're not alone. You're not the only one who's going through or has gone through a shitstorm of what ifs. But it's now about and more about how you let it control you. You've got two choices, and you longtime listeners know what I'm about to say. You can stay there in your world of wonder and live a life of regret, or you can get off your ass and do something your future self will thank you for. The only way to happy land is how? Yep, through the muck. And the only way through the muck is to look forward and do. Do for you. Do something new. Be okay with what was. And look forward as what's behind you doesn't have to come with you. And if you aren't being the best self you can be, how are you showing up for the people in your world? What do you have left to give them? And what good are you doing yourself? Where you put your energy is where your focus is, and vice versa. Again, where your focus is where your energy is going to go, and vice versa. So think about that. So I don't care if you screwed up so bad in 2017 or even before that, financially, personally. However, you just, how do you know what you can do and recover if you're so focused on that, what went wrong? So here's my suggestion. Stand up right now if you can. If you're driving or can't stand up, envision this. Look behind you. If you're driving, don't look behind you, but envision looking behind you. Envision your backside. Draw a line right there. Draw a line right behind you. And leave that shit there. Then turn around or look forward and smile. Because that's where you're going. There's 8.5 more months of 2018. 8.5 more months to kick ass. To realize your badassness. Okay? So instead of ruminating about what was, start envisioning what can and will be. And if you can't do this on your own, email me, sballard@growingforward.biz, B-I-Z. Contact me, reach out to me. You can also through social media. But let me help you look forward and work through this shitstorm so you can live the best life, okay? Let's make it happen. Have a great week. Cheers.